Flesh-eating bacteria kills dad of 6 in 4 days flat. A family outing took a tragic turn as a father of 6, Gary Evans, contracted flesh-eating virus necrotizing fasciitis and was dead in 4 days. The 56-year-old was crabbing with his family on a day at the Magnolia Beach along the Gulf of Mexico in Texas. 2 days later, Gary couldn't walk. Having not even entered the water, the family were horrified to discover that Gary had contracted Vibrio, the flesh-eating bacteria, which then in turn developed into the deadly necrotizing fasciitis which took his life. Vibrio is a bacteria which can be found in the Gulf of Mexico because of the perfect climate and warm waters, but the grief has been made more complicated for his family by the fact that Gary never actually entered the water, and it has left them wondering and without answers. Debbie Matix, Gary's wife, explained to the press that she was at a loss as to how Gary contracted the virus, but had to assume that it was when he dropped his hat into the water and then put it back on his head, or perhaps just from some sprinkles of water in the breeze from the crab traps he was handling. But she says they never got into the water. Now, I was hesitant about sharing this story at first during this family's time of grief, but the family have asked for this information to be shared far and wide, and I'll explain why in a moment. It was just 2 days after hitting the beach that Gary's legs and feet became so swollen that he couldn't walk, and he went to the hospital. It quickly became clear that he wouldn't be going home, and he was rushed to ICU. The doctors began treating Gary for Vibrio with antibiotics, and the necrotizing fasciitis hit hard the following day. He was very, very sick, Debbie said. The swellings on Gary's legs and feet began turning into blisters, and that's when Debbie was told that Gary had just 76 hours to live. He was on a respirator as it spread into his kidneys and his liver, eventually collapsing his veins. The doctors worked hard and did everything they could, but it ended up beating him. Debbie explained that the virus is a lot worse than people think. It's relentless, she said. It comes with a vengeance, destroying everything in its path. So why are we sharing this story with you? If you know us, you'll know that our news is very often feel-good, uplifting and positive, and this is anything but. Well, the death of this husband and father was a huge shock to the family. As well as the medical bills to contend with, they now have the significant expense of a sudden and unexpected funeral at a time when it must be hard to even think straight. So, it's your chance to be one of our heroes today. This awful tragedy only happened a few days ago, and the GoFundMe page is still open to donations to help cover the medical and funeral expenses. The family have asked that this story be shared far and wide, in the hope that a few kind souls will chip in and help take some of the burden at this extremely difficult time. I just checked and you can just Google Gary Evans medical and funeral expense and the GoFundMe page pops right up at the top. Consider doing your bit to help out today and share this with your friends and family, and let's give them one less thing to contend with at this very difficult time.